Hi everyone, this is the quick demo regarding to the feature PreScan readiness on the AutoAudit. So the purpose of this one is when a new user or student try to set up the Microsoft 365 tenant without a certain API permission, the scan will be stuck at the pending or very slow to progress due to the authentication or the permission issue. This is happen when you use the auto audit to start scanning a specific environment. This causing a lot of wasting time and it's a poor MVP for the product because it's causing the first time user a lot of trouble when they experience the product. So we need a feature that can be intercept at before the scanning to giving the warning or the alert for the user about the missing required permission so they can check up the tenant to set up correctly to perform the scan smoothly. So the approach that we're trying to do here is very simple. So you can see first we have to add the pre-scan readiness check before we actually scan. So we have to add a button. With this one, we recommend the user to run the pre-scan readiness for validation the permission of the connection. So if the user skip this step and straight to scan, the pop-up warning will be pop up. And if the same scenario happen for the warnings of failed status, if we detect any, we're going to give the hash notice for the user. But if the users perform the pre-scan with all the success status, so there was no scanning, there's no warning for the scan step. So what user flow usually doing is when they come into that, they have to select the connection and select the benchmark. So after that, the system will validate that 365 connection is the valid connection or not, based on the secret and the secret and ID that you put it in, and then from that, it will calling some API permission that required for the benchmark that you're choosing to testing firsthand. So in the result, the outcome, the user should able to see the permission that required for the benchmark in the ready or not ready status. We can see that it will be warning, fail or successful. So break down to the solution. So you can see this is a very simple model solution. Let's say we have the front end, the back end API, and the actual tenant. So whenever the front end passing into the selected connection string and the benchmark, target benchmark, what the backend will do is read that and run the pre-scan readiness function. And pre-scan readiness, what it's doing is it check for the tenant connection authentication, then calling the graph API permission to get a feedback and then respond back to the front end. So that is the flow, very simple. Just keep in mind, this is the pre-fly step before the scan actually running. So when the scan running, there was the engine that would be triggered to perform the scan and send the feedback to the backend. That was the middle step. This is like the straightforward between the backend API to the target tenant to save time and easier to troubleshoot and not causing too much of resourcing to actually running it. Yeah, so I'm gonna jump into the quick demo so you can see it the feature in live. So first of all, so you can see here, I'm currently running this one on my local host. So this is the audit app. So when you're logging in, so I'm trying to log it in into one of the oh my bad, one of the tenants. Yep, good, save. So you can see here, this is the platform of the dashboard. You can see dashboard, run your scan, or you can choose the cloud platform with the adding the new tenant into this one. I actually having the existing tenant, which is already hosting one of my tenant. We call it auto scanner. AutoAudit scanner. So you can see here. Yeah, maybe I want that up again. With the credential and secrets, you can see I already create some of the credential for testing and use one of them for the demo today. Inside here, what we can do is we go to scan, and what we can do is we can choose new scan. First, we have to choose the target connection string. For example, this is a target connection string, and for example, the benchmark will be I choose the V301. First thing first, you're gonna see there was a pop-up said that you should run the readiness check before doing a scan. So normally behavior, you run a readiness pre-scan readiness check. You can see it's gonna give you a feedback of all of the permission that required for this benchmark, like the read all, the role measurement, organization, and the first one is the connection is working. So if you see all the paths here and you press start scan, the scan is actually running here. And it doesn't give you any warning because the pre-scan step is already passed, and the scan will recognize from that to perform it. And when you see the result, the fair result is because it only have one global admin. It's nothing regarding to the permission or anything. It's more likely into the way we're setting up the environment, but it's proving that the pre-scan is working and it closely related to the scan process. So now let me test for some more scenario. Let's see, for example, run it again for this one. Use a read all. So what we can do here is we can do a simple testing regarding to that. Let's open that up. Go to DBA by API permission. And you see, there was a user read all permission over here. I choose the user read all permission, and I try to revoke the admin consent. So for example, I revoke it. Then I come back here, choosing the tenant and choosing the benchmark. I choosing the VS version 3.1. Run a readiness check again, so you can see now the permission has been failed for the user read all, because I already revoking the admin consent regarding to that permission. So now whenever our AutoAudit hitting the graph API of the tenant to get this user permission, it's gonna be fail and it's pop up here. So what if the user try to start scanning again? So even though this is the crucial fail, they still want to continue, it's gonna pop up a notification for them regarding to potentially leading to stuck or pending or fail scan because of the some of the permission was not passed. So if you continue to OK, you will see it start scanning over here, and the first one is fail, but this one is keep in the loop, keep running because we don't have the sufficient permission, and the engines keep running for regarding to miss the unverified authentication. Yeah, so that's the reason why we have to implement the pre-scan readiness check at the beginning. So you can see we may want to test out with some of the other benchmark. For example, the version 4.0. Click on the readiness check. You can see the 4.0 require more permission, but the crucial one, user read all, was critical because we not granted the permission. Same thing apply for the V6. So when you run the readiness check, you see give a couple warning, and the crucial one has failed. Yep, so you can see here, even the scan that we run early on without the correct permission is still stuck in the running. So what we can do is we try to delete this one because it's never completed. We try to set up again, give the correct permission again, then test this one more time, then we're good to go. So we already give it. Click refresh. Normally, whenever you grant permission, something like this, it usually take around 30 seconds to actually refresh and reload. So normally it's the catching strategy from the Microsoft regarding to this. So you can see testing again, run a check. Now it's passing. You can see grant permission is passing. I do the scan. Yep, successfully scanned, quick and efficient because we have all the required permission regarding to that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty much demo regarding to how we're using the PreScan, how it's validate and pop-up notification, and how it's testing regarding to the target environment with the sufficient API permission or don't have enough sufficient API permission. Thank you for watching.